So, hello everybody, my name is Nicholas Gustafson. We are the team Data Wizards, and we are going to be presenting some of our findings related to the dataset Maryland statewide vehicle crashes. This is a dataset that was published on opendata.maryland.gov. It was compiled by their IT department. This information is information that was collected from the Maryland State Police's police reports whenever there was a crash in Maryland that was within their jurisdiction. A lot of the data is just descriptive stuff that's kind of categorical data, possibly selected from like a drop-down menu, that kind of thing. So there's not a lot of like advanced machine learning analysis we're going to do. What we are going to do is go through a bunch of interesting tidbits and facts that we were able to pull out of the data set that we think the public should be aware of. There's a lot of stuff related to when a crash occurred, how severe it was, where you should avoid certain areas, and things like that. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
So, hi everyone, this is Hari. So I'm going to talk about like most number of crashes happen at what place, I mean like location and which day of the week, and like total general how many crashes have happened and where it's happened and at what time, at what place most number of crashes happen, and the condition of the roads at the time of the crashes that happened. And let's get started with my points. So here we can see that the hotspot zones where the color is most number of crashes happen, and we had find that like most number of crashes had happened between Washington and Baltimore highways, and that is Capital Beltway Highway, and that's where we spotted out. And it has seen that 40% of the crashes had mostly happened on these highways and in state highways, and only 25% of the crashes are happened on like counties roads or something like that. And moving to that which hour of the day where most number of crashes happen, and it's observed that like from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. between the most number of crashes on average, most number of crashes are happened on every day in a week. And it has seen that like fifth day, it means the Friday, starting with from Monday, where the most number of crashes happen, it might be that like and it might be the reason where the like it's on a weekend, and it may be the reason where the most number of crashes happen, where because of the since we the highway lines between the Baltimore and Washington DCs are like where it's hugely crowded and populated, and there may be the reason where the like crashes are happened on the weekends, where because of the people move around the here and there to different, I mean like travel to different other states from one to there. And it has no, and we have find that like 12th month of the every year, like which is October, where the most number of crashes happen. And it has seen that like 2020, when we compare between 2020 and 2021 data, and it is found that 2020, where the year Q2, from where the starting from the month 4, it's reported very less number of crashes compared with the last 5 years of data. It may be the reason where the COVID has impacted on us, where the people haven't come out of the houses, and that may be the reason where this quarter, the second quarter of the year 2020, has reported very less number of crashes compared to the 5 years data of the Maryland state. And it's again gets, I mean like, and again it's in 2021, it's again get started, I mean raising our the number of crashes had raised gradually from the year 2021. And when coming to the roads conditions of the Baltimore city, and I would like so before going to that where the road conditions, I would suggest like to people who lives in the Baltimore city and between Washington, who's traveling between these weekends or something like that, I will suggest you to go before or after the time zones where most number of crashes likely to happen, which is between 4 p.m. after 4 p.m. And this is the peak hours between like 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. is the peak hour where the most number of crashes happen, almost like similar, like thousands of crashes that happen for every year. So I would suggest you to go on before, or I mean like time before, or where most number of crashes going to happen. So when it comes to road condition, like I feel like Maryland road conditions are very pretty much good compared to other state, which is like surrounded by Baltimore County, because like we didn't find very much road crash based on the road conditions. The crashes had happened. It is very less compared to other states and the country's crashes. And in Maryland, like most number of the crashes, when based on the road condition, it happens only on the roads with holes and patches on it. And and we can suggest like the Maryland Transport Department can suggest like if people are going on particular road conditions, they can implement some boards of which there are some patches or holes on that one, which can give the speed limit which the driver or the one who is driving the car can maintain a particular speed. That will be helpful for the users. And I feel like this data can be used on like when in navigation field or something like that, so that can be useful to the users when we are driving the car vehicle, so that the what particular type of the roads are having that severity of damage of the roads. And that may be useful if there is very huge traffic, or if the frequent number, more number of crashes on that happening on the particular time and the particular year and the week of the like a day of the week. So that can be used in navigation, so that can be helpful for when there's some we can use it as in Google Maps or something like that. That may be helpful for the users. I feel like that. So I can end my points over here. Kiras can take care. Thank you. Yes.
All right, up next.
All right, so next, I'm going to just really focus on fatal crashes. How kind of male, female, who has more fatal crashes, the hours, the months, and as well as each county, how fatal crashes differentiate from total crashes. So with the first one, I'm just looking between males and females, who has more fatal crashes. As you can see, males have double the fatal crashes that females do. But when you look at back at total crashes, males contribute 57.6% of all total crashes, while females are 41.9%. The other 0.5% is unknown. That may be a data entry error. We're not really sure. But moving forward to the fatal crashes, you see how males are almost doubled, but that they contribute to 67.4% of all fatal crashes, while females only contribute to 32.4%, which is pretty significant. The female figure drops around 9% compared to total, and the male figure jumps up around 10% for fatal crashes. Coming down, the next thing I wanted to point out was just the counties and how the crashes are distributed to the counties. Looking through the total crashes, all crashes 2021, you're able to see that the top three counties with the most crashes were PG County, Baltimore County, and Baltimore City. Those were around 34% of all total crashes. When you look here, Prince George's County exceeds all the counties. You can add up the second and third highest fatality counties, which were Baltimore and Anne Arundel County. They still won't reach the amount of fatal crashes that Prince George's County has. Those three actually contribute to around 39.8% of all fatal crashes in the state of Maryland. So Prince George's by far has the most. It may be just because it's close to Washington D.C. There's a lot of nightlife, but those are some potential factors. That's why Prince George's County boosted up. I also wanted to point out Baltimore City. Baltimore City actually ranks 9th in total fatal crashes in 2021. When you look at total crashes in Baltimore City, they're actually second in the counties. So maybe so, but basically Baltimore City, the fatalities dropped drastically. I'm not sure. Maybe it's due to the slow traffic on the roads, but that was just an interesting tidbit that I found. When you look coming down here, kind of feeding off Hari's point, I'm looking at the hours that all these fatal crashes occur. So as you can see, the most fatal crashes surprisingly occur from 2 to 3 p.m. Pretty interesting tidbit, because most people from 2 to 3 are working, and you suspect the roads are clear. But from this data, that's the opposite. Also, as you can see, the time from 4 to 6 is where the most crashes happen. The only hour that actually shows up in the top 3 is the 17th hour, which is from 5 to 6. That actually ranks third in the amount of fatal crashes. But when you look at the 21st and 22nd hour, they respectively rank. The 21st hour ranks 11th in total crashes for the 2021 data frame, and then the 22nd hour also ranks 16th. In terms of fatal crashes, those numbers drastically jump up. The 21st hour, so about 9 p.m. and 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. and 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Jump up. That may be due to factors such as drug or alcohol that usually are prevalent throughout the night. And then lastly, I wanted to see the most dangerous month, where the most fatal crashes happen. From the data before, as in the data frame in the graph that Hari showed, there's actually no data from October, November, and December. So it's going to be a little skewed. As you can see, December and November are low. Even if you double that figure, they would not get close to August. But for October, you can see it's around 300 crashes. If you double that, that may be close to August, but we're not sure yet until that data is available. So I just wanted to point out, in August, those are when the most crashes happen out of the first 9 months of the year, in 2020 and 2021. That follows with July. July and August are actually pretty comparable when you look at total crashes, but August jumps ahead, almost doubles the July fatal crashes. That may be due to the summer months, how a lot of Maryland residents like to go from their house to Ocean City or out of town. That may contribute to that rise in August and July.
I'll go next.
I'm interested to share my screen.
No, I can go next and follow him up with the fatal crashes stuff. So to piggyback off of him and the fatal crashes, I wanted to point out a particular road that is very dangerous in comparison to the other roads. So if we look at just the roads that had greater than 25 fatal crashes, and then look at the fatality rate, so basically the number of fatal crashes divided by the total number of crashes that happened on that road, there was one road with a significantly higher fatality rate than all the roads, and that's Peg Road. This is a very small road out in Eastern Maryland, just a few miles long, where serious crashes are far more likely to occur than in any other road in the data set. 13% of crashes are fatal, like I said, but specifically the distribution of collision types is significantly different on Peg Road than it is on any other road. Usually, by far, same direction rear end is the most common type of collision, followed by same movement angle and a few others. But same direction rear end is not very common at all, which is usually a not very serious crash. But head-on collisions become significantly more likely on Penn Road. So when you're out there on Penn Road, please be careful. There's a serious chance of a head-on collision on this small road, and it's not even a very used road to have 28 fatalities. So if we move on, I kind of wanted to look at just a few other little facts that might be interesting to the public. Overall, in a crash, it's a 33% chance that a crash is going to result in injury and a 0.4% chance that a crash is going to result in fatality. And you might think that this changes in the rain. It doesn't really, this distribution does not change much in the rain. So if you get in a crash in the rain, well, you might be more likely to get in a crash. Whether or not it's going to be an injury or a fatality is as about with identical probability. But in the fog, notably, the chances of a fatal crash more than double. So when you're in the fog, please be careful. I think it's likely because of the head-on collisions. So foggy mornings, please be careful, everybody. And another thing is you might be thinking about nighttime and whether or not it's dark. Does that affect kind of fatality rate, the chance of a severe crash? Well, it turns out on roads that have streetlights, roads where it's dark but the lights are on, your chances of a fatal crash are, if you get in a crash, are identical to your chances of a fatal crash normally. But if you're on a dark road where there's no streetlights, chances of a fatal crash increase by more than a factor of 4 to 1.8% of all crashes being fatal when you're on a dark road with no lights. It's a significant amount. So those are the places to be very careful. And notably, that is what happens on Penn Road also. So it's a dark road it's not well lit, head-on collisions. So it's kind of the perfect microcosm of negative things that could happen. So that concludes my points. I'm going to move on to the next person.
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, regarding the, I divided into the counties. Most of the crashes are happening in cities, Baltimore and big cities. Because of most of the people are living there in cities. So that's why the crashes are more. And that is I divided into Google Map graphical representation. When the more crashes are happen, it's a big dot. It will show the big dot. Less crashes is happen small. And like I divided it very pretty cool to see. Coming to the weather condition, in weather condition, we can see most of the crashes will be happen in clear way only. Due to driver problems, most of them. And coming to the next, rain. In rainy season, while raining time, car is moving on road. On the time when we stop the car, it won't stop because of it will be later like a scared. I filter from big number to small number. Then coming to the signal point of view, if the driver is does not use their signals, it will be crashes happen. If a driver is not given the signal, it will I shown in no. In that time, the crashes are happen like this much of the crashes, and left on, right on, like that. I divided it, and I shown that most of the crashes will be happen in these without known unknown things, little bit things. If the driver is given the signal and opposite person they are unable to see, or else they or any something else. So on the time the crashes will be happen like this much of the crashes, right on line and left on line, that crashes will be happen. And these crashes is summed here. If the driver is signal given, means yes, these are the crashes totally. And if the driver is not given the signal and crashes is happen, These are the crashes happen, and these are summed here totally, and come to this graphical representation. In single graph, I divide into the two. If the driver is not given the signal no, and given the signal yes, I represented a graph. Then coming to the road diversion. In road diversion, we see that two-way and one-way. Two-way means we have two-way side. In that time also the crashes is happen because of most of the crashes will be happen. Some roads they don't have middle footpaths, so the crashes will be happen opposite way or like one way. One way also the people they will walk on road. That time the crashes will be happen. So most of the crashes will be happen in two ways only. So that is I represented in graphically here. I'm handing the next person. Thank you.
Julie.
Hi, I am Juliee, and till now we did talk mostly about the fatal crashes, but the most majority of the crashes cause property damage and injury crashes, where we can definitely have a look at it, where majority of it is a property damage crash, and the second biggest thing which causes injury crashes. Well, the type of properties that can get damaged are like some other in most of the cases are other vehicles or some fixed objects and a parked vehicle. So out of these, what we can do is the parked vehicles can be actually, if the parked vehicles are on the road, then only there is a most probability that the parked vehicles are getting rammed on by the vehicles. And these most crashes happen due to the movement angles, which we are going to look at. Like most of the accidents happen due to the same movement angle, or when the car is turning in the same direction and the driver mostly loses control while turning. And a fun fact about the injury crashes is that when most of the crashes have recorded injuries, but when we go to look at the severity of the crashes or severity of the injuries caused in the crashes, we find more than 80% of the crashes recorded as no injuries, and the others have non-incapacitating injuries and possible incapacitating injuries, some disabled injury, and others, a very few, are fatal injuries. So this is the point to be noted. And we have other things like when the property is damaged, that when I said is mostly due to the angle of the vehicle. So mostly when the speed is constant, still accidents are happening because there may be many causes due to slowing down of other vehicles, or there might be parked vehicles, and as Satyam already mentioned, even when the drivers are giving indicators, the accidents do happen even on the turns, where we can see that quite accidents happen even when the cars are turning, even in the right lanes. So I think there has to be significant marking of the lanes while turning, so that the drivers keep a record that they are not changing lanes and going into some other lanes that where most of the accidents have been caused. And I guess that's it. Now Nishit can continue from here.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So the thing that I would like to mention is about like some of the age distribution of the people involved in the crash. So roughly we can see some of the outlying ages, which is about like no one aging about one and 15 years are involved in the crash. So this was the thing. And apart from that, so in the fatal crashes, 89.9% of the crashes doesn't involve any kind of drug testing. So mostly it's like the people don't give consent to appear for the drug test, and probable reason is Fourth Amendment of US Constitution. So yeah, my favorite fact, rough and tough cars. So in when we found the cars that are involved in the fatal crashes, and these are some of the companies which I have highlighted. So these cars are functional after encountering the fatal crashes. So like, and very less amount of, as in 16% of cars actually got destroyed when they were in fatal crash. So like, you might die, but your car won't. So if you are like looking for a car, please have a good suggestion. So apart from that, the final fact. So it's about the head-on collision and some of the safe highways for head-on collisions. So the common crash type is the same direction rear end, but the most fatal crash which is encountered is head-on collision, and even from the point that Sathyam mentioned, so most of the crashes were happening in the two ways and the road wasn't divided. So there are very likely chances that the two vehicles, when changing the lane, they come across in front of each other and the crash happens. So overall, if we see the contribution, fatal crash contributes as 10%, which is almost twice the overall fatal crash that happens because of head-on collisions. So, like even I'll talking about some of the safe highways, like as Nick mentioned on the dangerous highway, I would like to throw some safe highways, and which has a good amount of length. So there's a Balto Beltway, JFK Memorial Highway. So these are the road which has very low amount of fatal and head-on collision, and they are pretty long. So while on this highway, please be safe, like just enjoy the ride. Don't worry about anything. So these were some great facts about the Maryland transportation and traffic crashes. Hope you find this very helpful, and thank you for driving safely.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Madam.